going on YouTube? It's Vinnie with the Vape Academy, back again with another mod review for you. Today we have a special treat. We have the only authentic mod that I own, the first I ever bought, the Monstro by 2Puffs. Now this is the version 2. All in all, I like it. It's stainless steel top and bottom caps. I believe silver-plated brass contacts, which they're pretty nice. The inside sleeve is solid copper, and then the outside has these shirts, they call them, which we'll get into more. I'm not sure if they're plastic or some kind of acrylic, but I don't know what material they are. I'll look it up for you, though, before we get into a close-up. Now, like I said, I like the thing. I don't know if I $200 like it, but we'll get into why in a little bit. Let's dig in close and we'll show you the details. Alright guys, so here we go, the Monstro by 2Puffs. Now, as you can see, you got this nice box. It's got a nice little texture on it. This one's a little chewed up. It's been in my bag for a little while. But magnetic on the front, as you can see. You let that go and it kind of just flaps right in. But enough about the box. Let's get to the business. Now, check that out. Now, as you can see, it comes with, you got your mod. You got 4 sleeves. There's one on it and then 3 other ones. This one, kind of a brown, almost like a brushed brass look to it. You got a gunmetal, you got a black, and you got a white. And they all got this really rad 2Puffs logo on it. Not 2Puffs, the Monstro logo, I'm sorry. Yeah, let's dig this guy out. It's in this nice kind of, it's a type of styrofoam, but it's thicker than usual styrofoam. We'll close that guy up for now. Now, I got the white sleeve on here. The threads on it are awesome. They're really nice on the lock ring. Now, what I don't like so much is the threads up top. Now, they're super smooth threads, never squeak or nothing like that. But let's see how close we can get. They're really thin threads. And that's where the issue lies, is you can't just throw it on here and start screwing. It's really difficult to line it up and get it to go. You kind of got to know what you're doing. It's one of those where you got to back it off so that it catches and then go back in. Which, I mean, it's not a huge deal for the looks of this thing, but it's kind of an oversight and a pain in the ass. If you're out on the road, so to speak, you're out of the house, it's a pain in the ass to put a new battery and a new atomizer on top. Now, how this thing sits, if you can see that, there's this little tab right here that catches in this little lock right here. Now when you get it in, it sits flush, and that prevents that from spinning when you turn the threads. Now therein lies the next problem, is when you screw this guy down and you get it nice and flush. Alright, that thing's not going anywhere, but once you throw a battery, let me grab a battery here, you throw a battery in there. If you're not lined up right with this thing, and this thing sits too high, there's the gap. Now this thing is so short that it just spins. You see? And then you got to go back in, and you got to move the floats. Now it's a 2-piece float. You got the big part and the smaller guy that actually makes contact with the battery. And again, it's not a huge deal, but you know, it's kind of a pain in the ass, especially when you're not home, or if you're in the car or something like that. Like, even when I moved it a little bit, this thing still swivels. And it takes you like maybe 3-4 tries to get it right. And that's too much work for me. You know what I mean? Alright, so I adjust, and then I adjust again, and then I adjust again. And then by that time, I'm so in need of a freaking vape that it's like, I want to vape something else, you know what I mean? I want to get this thing over with. But that's really my only gripe with it. The thing looks amazing. This white, I think it's one of the only like straight up authentic white mods you can get. There's a lot of clones that come in white, but this is the only authentic that I can think of now that I scour my brain to come up with one that's also white. And then you can see the copper through it. It looks pretty badass. There are vents for the battery. There's top vents, which you don't see very often. That's actually a genius idea. I explained in my battery safety video that not many batteries vent through the bottom. Most of them actually vent through the top. Now, the copper tube on this thing because it can go 18650 and 18500, the copper tube, you might question how that works. It looks solid, right? Well, the threads on this thing, that's how good the threads are. Look how close. There is next to no tolerance in that. You can't even see it. And then you pop it off, and that'll get you down to 18500 mode. And it is cool to have the option, you know, you can drop down and make the thing a little bit smaller. I'm going to leave the shirt off now just to keep the headache, but see what I'm talking about? This thing is such a pain in the ass to get these threads going right, because it's just the way it is, you know. They're nice, tight tolerance threads, but because of that, it kind of makes them a bit of a headache to get in and out. So yeah, in 18500 mode, I got small hands, but it's the size of my hand. And then 18650, it's basically the shirt is the size of that, and then you add the top cap and bottom cap. So it's not that big, but I definitely have shorter, I'm sorry. The Tree of Life is probably the shortest that I've seen in any mode, and that comes with its own sleeves. But yeah, we'll back out, we'll show you what the different shirts look like on it, and we'll vape it a little bit and give you some final thoughts. Alright guys, so as you can see, I put the white back on. Here it is with white. It looks damn good. I think the white is probably the coolest color out of it, but my only gripe with white, and the reason I don't use it as often as I use the rest, is it gets these little micro scratches on it. I'm not sure if you can see it with the lighting, and it's probably just me being picky, but there's little scratches that come up. You know, if you put it in jeans, eventually it'll turn that blue color from leaving it in your jeans too often. But that's not really a big deal, and that's over time. But you know, I take white out when I'm going out for the night, when I need to be a little bit flashier, you know what I mean? The white with this like really polished stainless steel, almost chrome look, looks really, really sick. I'm gonna throw the black on and let you guys see that real quick. Again, just spin it, let that thing catch. You can hear it, it's an audible catch when it does go in. And then you got this pain in the ass top cap with these pain in the ass threads. There you go. And again, once you get them on, they're butter smooth threads. They're really nice. Not the best I've come across, but alright, so there's black. Black looks really, really sick. And then let me grab an Addy real quick. This is a little boy. I do have a review coming up on this. I'll probably do that this weekend. Alright, so it's off a little bit. As you can see, I got this gap, but you know, that looks pretty sweet. Again, with the black and the silver. Black and silver, it's a good look. I bring something like this to work. The black doesn't scratch easy, the black doesn't show very many marks, so that's always a good thing. And then now the next two you have are your 18500s. And again, it's kind of cool to have the option of the smaller look. You know, obviously with the smaller battery, you have to go higher in the ohms, so you can't really go too wicked sub-ohm with an 18500, but you can kind of sub-ohm with it. So you take off this last little copper piece, back that out, throw him in there. Now this is probably my second favorite color on it, and I almost wish that they had the gunmetal with, with the 18650 size, because it's such a badass looking color. I like gunmetal in general. Anything that's this like really dark kind of gray is one of my favorite colors out there. And then again, this logo is super badass. I really love it. It's just fucking sweet looking. You know, it's badass. It almost got this like barbed wire-ish look to it. Let me zoom in nice and close on that. With like the half a skull inside. That's kind of just cool. Now I'll throw an Addy on him. And then you got yourself a nice little pocket mod. It does fit inside your hand again. I got smaller hands, but they're not too small. Don't make fun. So yeah, that's another cool look. And then the brown is probably my least used. I think I've used it like twice. You know, I guess if you're like a matching guy and your shoes match your shirt, which matches your belt, which matches your underwear for the day, this is the mod to get, you know. It's 4 different colors, whatever you're feeling that day. And this is not the first time that 2Puffs has done this. The the version 1 Monstro did the same, but there were just different colors. These are, I like these colors a bit more. That's why I ended up paying the money for it. Now the brown's kind of cool. I guess it would go with a copper Addy, but you know, brown and copper aren't necessarily the same color. So you're not really going to find much that matches it. I don't know of any brown painted atomizers. But it's not like a straight brown. It's like a bit more metallic looking to it. So yeah, that's 18500 brown with the little boy. It's a cool look. Again, you can see the copper through it. Now, one tip that I kind of came up with a couple weeks ago is keeping this thing in your hand constantly, just by general use. Inside these little fins, the copper will get not corroded but patinaed a little bit. So maybe once every couple weeks, once a month, just slide this bad boy off, take some Brasso, some metal polish, and just kind of scrub that up, and it'll get it looking really nice. And that'll also help with your threads a little bit too. They don't get squeaky, but they do, if there is gunk in them, they kind of back up real easy, just because they are so thin. We'll back out, we'll vape it with the little boy, and we'll show you guys what's up. So yeah guys, Monstro by 2Puffs. Thing's nice. It looks badass. It looks better than it works in my opinion. But if you're into the way it looks and you don't really mind the threads, then it's an option. I'd probably buy the clone before I bought the Authentic again, just knowing what I know about it. There is something about an Authentic that's just just draws you to it. You know, the materials are nicer. You know, the stainless on this thing is flawless. The threads are flawless. I haven't had a single issue with anything sticking that much. Every now and then the lock ring sticks, but that's user error. That's nothing to do with the mod. That's just me not cleaning it and keeping up with the maintenance. But yeah, I don't know if I'd pay 200 bucks again for it, but a clone would probably be worth it. Like I said, there's only a few mods where I would buy the Authentic. This isn't one of them. I wouldn't buy it again. But I mean, for 50 bucks, I would love this thing. The looks alone are stunner. Just look at that thing. I love it. I love the looks of this thing. But again, performance, it's kind of a pain in the ass. Once you have it set up, it's nice. You know, once I have it ready to go and there's no battery rattle or anything like that, I do like it. But you know, if I'm sitting at my desk at work and I have to put a new battery in, and that battery happens to be a millimeter less than the other battery, you gotta go in, you gotta change it, you gotta twist it again. Alright, now take it all the way off. It gets to be a hassle after like the third time. You're like, alright, fuck this, I'm getting something different. What else do I have to mention? Oh, it came with a vape bag, which the vape bag is actually the coolest part about it. I use this thing all day, every day. Whenever I need to go anywhere and bring my vape gear with me, I can fit everything that I own in that bag. There's not much that doesn't fit. It's got all kinds of spots for mods, all kinds of spots for Kanthal, tools, anything that you want to bring, it's got spots. Juice slots, atomizer slots. It's got space for everything. It's a nice bag. Unfortunately, you can't buy the bag without buying the mod, which doesn't make much sense to me because it is a kick-ass bag, but you can't get it separate. Some places, beware, some places sell the bag separate from the mod, which I think is kind of fucked up because companies get the bag for free to go with the mod and they separate them and sell them both, which is kind of messed up, you know what I mean? The place I got it from sold it with the bag, which was kind of cool, but yeah, beware of that. If they're not going to give you the bag with it, tell them that they owe you a fucking bag. Other than that, guys, this thing's rad. It looks good. Again, I wouldn't pay 200 bucks for it. It doesn't look that good, but it's a nice model around. If you can find the clone and the clone's nice, I'd buy it, but I would not pay $200 for this mod again. That's about it for this one. I'm going to have more reviews. I got a few things coming up. I'm going to do this little boy soon. I have a couple other mods to do, a couple mechs, couple variable volt, variable watt guys coming up. And Christmas is right around the corner, so we'll see. I might get a few new things coming in. I'm going to hit this one more time. Again, this is the Little boy, it's at a 0.2 something, 2 and change on the Monstro. Here goes. This little boy fucking chucks. Alright guys, like and subscribe. We'll see you next time with another mod review.